Have you ever had the eerie sensation that something was subtly off, like your choices weren't entirely your own, that you said yes when you wanted to say no, stayed when you wanted to leave, gave when you felt empty? Maybe you did someone a favor that didn't sit right with you. Maybe you let someone win an argument, even though deep down you knew they were wrong. You walked away confused, even ashamed, wondering why you couldn't stand your ground. This feeling isn't your imagination. It's the echo of something deeper, a quiet, invisible current pulling you in directions you didn't consciously choose. This video is not about conspiracy. It's not about hypnosis or mind control. It's about something far more insidious and far more real. It's about emotional influence, social pressure, behavioral programming. It's about manipulation, the kind that doesn't announce itself, the kind that whispers. The most effective manipulation doesn't come with chains. It comes with comfort. It wears the mask of safety, love, loyalty, and responsibility. It convinces you that you're in charge, that the ideas were yours, that the guilt is your burden to carry, and most of all, it makes you feel alone in your confusion. But you're not alone. In this video, we're not going to offer reassurance. We're going to offer tools. We're not going to wrap the truth in soft packaging. We're going to confront it with honesty, because only when you see the strings can you start cutting them. Let's begin with the truth that most people never want to say out loud. You are being influenced constantly, not just by advertisements or algorithms, not just by politics or news, but by people closest to you, your friends, your family, your partner, your colleagues. Sometimes they don't even realize they're doing it. Sometimes they do, and here's what makes it worse. You probably think you're immune, that you'd notice it, that you'd resist, but manipulation isn't loud, it's quiet. It doesn't come through command. It comes through emotional leverage, a look, a sigh, a do whatever you want. That means anything but. You've seen it before, maybe even used it. Let's look at how this begins. Manipulation starts before the first word is spoken. It starts with perception, observation. People are constantly scanning you for cues, your insecurities, your emotional needs, your triggers. Do you crave approval? Do you flinch at rejection? Do you feel guilty when you assert boundaries? These cues form a map, a blueprint of how to navigate you, and once they have it, all they need to do is steer. Some do it with charm. They flatter you, lift you up, make you feel seen, not because they care, but because they understand the power of reciprocity. If they give you warmth, you'll give them your trust. If they compliment you, you'll drop your guard. If they act special, you'll treat them that way. Others take a different path. They play the victim. They express how overwhelmed they are, how nobody understands them, how they only have you. It starts with sympathy, then guilt, then obligation. You become emotionally responsible for their feelings, and any attempt to pull back, to reclaim your space is met with subtle punishment, not in words but in disappointment, silence, distance. They don't have to say you're abandoning me. They just need you to feel it. And some use fear. They don't need to raise their voice. They just suggest what would happen if you left, if you said no, if you lived differently. You'll end up alone. No one else will accept you. Don't be ungrateful. They don't trap you with ropes. They trap you with imagination, with the worst-case scenario. And you stay, not because you want to, but because the alternative terrifies you. Here's the twist. This works only because of one thing. You, your vulnerability, your blind spots, your unresolved emotional needs. You are not manipulated because you are foolish. You are manipulated because you are human. Let's go deeper. Some of us grew up chasing approval. We were taught implicitly or directly, that we had to earn love, that we had to behave to be accepted, that making others comfortable was our job. So we became people pleasers. We learned to anticipate others' emotions, to avoid conflict, to accommodate. Not out of kindness, but out of fear, fear of disconnection. Others carry guilt, a quiet, heavy guilt for having needs, for setting limits, for choosing themselves. Maybe they were raised in environments where love was conditional, where expressing individuality was punished. So they learned to apologize for existing, to explain their no, to feel bad for doing what was right for them, and many carry fear, fear of being alone, fear of being misunderstood, fear of being too much or not enough. These fears keep us in patterns, in relationships that hurt us, in jobs that drain us, in dynamics that shrink us. Manipulators don't create these gaps. They find them, and they fill them, temporarily, until we rely on them. And that's when control begins. But there is a way out. It starts not with confronting others, but with confronting ourselves. Emotional immunity begins with brutal self-awareness. Ask yourself, what gets to me? What emotional buttons do people press that make me say yes when I mean no? What are the patterns in my life that keep repeating? The moment you name the pattern, you weaken its hold. Next, develop emotional distance. Not coldness, clarity. This means learning to pause, to step back from the immediate emotion and ask, why do I feel this? Who benefits from this reaction? Is this choice mine or theirs? The manipulator wants urgency. You disarm them with thought, then disrupt your predictability. The people who control you count on your consistency, your need to soothe, your need to respond. Break the pattern. Delay your answer. Leave the message on read. Say no just to see how it feels. The moment you become unpredictable, the game loses power. And now comes the most important piece. Build identity. The more solid your sense of self, the less you seek it from others. If you know your worth, you don't chase validation. If you're grounded in your values, no one can bend them for their convenience. Here's the hard truth. Most people don't want emotional freedom. They want comfort, familiarity, approval, but freedom is uncomfortable. It requires sacrifice. It means being misunderstood, being judged, standing alone at times. It means letting people down and learning to live with that. And nowhere is this harder than in close relationships. What if the person who manipulates you is someone you love, a parent, a partner, a lifelong friend? What then? That's where the real test begins. Because manipulation in intimate relationships doesn't feel like control. It feels like care, like connection, like love. But real love doesn't require you to shrink. Real love doesn't punish boundaries. Real love doesn't trade fear for loyalty. If someone's affection depends on your obedience, it's not love, it's control. So what do? You begin with boundaries, clear, calm, non-negotiable. You stop explaining yourself. You say no without a thesis. You remind yourself that respect given out of fear is not real respect. Then you speak. You expose the dynamic, not to shame, but to reclaim your reality. Say what you see. Say how it feels. Say what you will no longer accept. And finally, stay firm, because when you stop playing the role they assigned you, they will react. They will test you, guilt you, punish you, but every time you hold your line, you reclaim a piece of yourself. And sometimes the only path forward is to leave, not out of hatred, but out of clarity, because some bonds, no matter how deep their history, are not worth your soul. Once you understand this, your vision sharpens. You stop seeing people as who they claim to be, and start seeing them as what they do, when no one's watching. You realize that most manipulation is not personal. It's patterned. It's systemic. It's part of how society functions, through emotional debt, unspoken expectations, and image over truth. To resist, you must adopt a new lens. Think in terms of power, not just morality. Think in terms of influence, not just intention. Power is not about domination. It's about sovereignty over your thoughts, over your choices, over your reactions, and that begins with observation. Learn to read between the lines. Notice what's left unsaid. Notice how you feel after you leave certain conversations. Trust that feeling. It's data. Silence is your friend. Mystery is protection. You don't owe everyone access to your mind. And never forget, real strength is restraint. Let people misjudge you. Let them assume. The person who doesn't react is often the one in control. In a world of surface, be depth. In a world of influence, be immune. Because if you don't shape your mind, someone else will. If you don't choose your values, someone else will feed you theirs. And if you don't take full ownership of your choices, you'll always be living a script written by someone else. So now, the question is not whether you've been manipulated. The question is, are you ready to stop? Not just today, not just in moments of clarity, but every single time someone tries to tug on the strings you used to call identity. This is not about paranoia, it's about liberation, and it begins when you stop asking for permission to think clearly. You don't need approval to be free, you just need courage, because the truth isn't soft, but it sets you free, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. If this spoke to something inside you, don't let the feeling pass. Like the video, share your story in the comments. What was the moment you realized you were being guided, not choosing? And if you're ready for the next level, watch the follow-up video, where we explore how identity is crafted by society and how to rebuild it from the inside out. Welcome to the real game. You're not a piece anymore. You're the player.